It's one of the Despotic, bring you guys another gameplay commentary. This is Black Desert Online. And with the addition of the crystal presets for console, which we got last update, which was Tuesday, um, things have changed. Uh, I've been dueling a lot, and I've been testing out these different setups, and I'll just go through them and explain why I decided to go with what for PvP and PvE. Some players asked me about it, so I decided to make a video. I've been having really good results with my setup. I'm an awakened Sork, and one of our main issues, and I've said this in previous videos, one of our main issue that we have is the fact that we don't really match up well against evasion classes, especially Striker and Mystic. We're magic, so they have a magic defense, like 10%. They take 10% less damage from magic classes. They also have like a 10%, I think it's 9 or 10% passive when it comes to, I mean, I could probably check it, when it comes to evasion. And on console, they can really, I mean, on both PC and console, but I'm speaking specifically about console because that's where I play. And with the change to Kafka levels be going from 10 to 15, we have players who can get in excess of 400. As a matter of fact, I'll show where, uh, you know, I'll give examples of what happens when players get gear, and like what's the best way for me to combat that. And these crystals really help out. They've changed the game, right? I'm no longer in that kind of approach where I'm contemplating, should I switch from, you know, my non-accuracy necklace, my non-accuracy belt is something that has accuracy, right? To lunar, I already have Tet Toros, and I've already done a video on that, contemplating if I should go here, right? That was a big thing for me. That is no longer the case, right? I don't have any reasons to go with evasion, I'm sorry, with accuracy gear, right? And as most of us know, accuracy gear is very expensive, right? To go from on console, right? To go, if you take a look at, the cost, let's just go to silver. And I'll get to my crystal setup and why I decided to go there. So if you go to Leighton on console, it's 94 bill, right? On console, it's around like 63 bill for the Bassi. If you were to switch that to Pentoros, look at that. 134.87 bill, right? Capital B's, right? And just to get pen, the only difference from Tet to pen is an additional 2 AP, right? You get an additional 2 AP, and you get an additional 4 accuracy. So if you change this to Tet, you'll notice that on console, it's around 14 bill. So to go from 14 bill to 134 bill, what's that, 120 bill more for an additional 2 AP and 4 accuracy, right? That's not something I can understand, right? It boggles my mind. Now let's take a look at the standard Leighton or Ogre, right? Like I said, it's 95 bill on console. If you then Lunar is not that expensive, right? It's not as expensive. On console, it's around like 120 bill to 100. Yeah, it's actually 135 bill, right? So think of that, right? And it gives you 28 more accuracy, and you lose 4 AP. You're spending 135 bill. Now, if you drop this down to TET, it's the same thing, right? And essentially what you're getting, if you put it with 42 accuracy, you get 52. You get an additional 10 accuracy, and 3 or 4 AP. I don't think it's worth it, right? And this is something that most players who suffer, they need accuracy to be effective, right? And after a certain point where your AP 309 was that thing, or 305. For most players, it's 305. For players who really need to have high AP, like a Sork, 309, even at 316, that's where I was in the past. Even at 316, you're still not hitting those numbers. And so you would have to find ways to, try to get your accuracy up just in order to kill players, right? And that was always a thing that was in the back of my mind, but that is no longer a thing for me, at least. It's no longer a thing. This crystal preset has essentially like thrown those contemplations out the window. There's zero contemplating about if I should go to Pantoros or and Penn Leighton. I'm sorry, Penn Lunar. That's not a thing. My next game, and I'll show here, is essentially Debo and Debreka, right? The belt, Debo belt, Debo neck. This is where I'm going, and and the reason I made this kind of approach now, it's simply because of the crystal presets. Now, even before that, to show you what I had to do. Right, this is what I'm at TET. I was at TET. This was the bill I was running before I just went to I went to Bassi. Right. So this is the bill I was running before. It was 316, 320. Let me just put this here. Right. This is the build I was running before, and then I would also have I would have like an accuracy house buff. This is what I would have. Right? I would have that. Right? This is what I would have. And that would get me to, I think it was like 890 or 901 accuracy and 316 AP across the board. I think it was 314, 316. I'd hit a new bracket. And to me, I was able to kill almost all players with an exception of really high geared mystics, really high geared strikers. I would be able to CC them. I would have to like fully extend them to kill them. So I would have to play almost perfect, right? And I just didn't think that was the best way to kind of approach this. So, I would go through a whole list of things, right? And at this time, I was running the typical human damage build, right? Human damage in the helmet, human damage in the feet, Jin Vipers in the hands, Elcar corrupted, and I have Garmoth in my awakened scythe. So I had an additional slot. So I was running those 3 accuracy and 5 damage to humans, right? Yes, I know human damage doesn't really affect evasion. It affects more DR. And so this is essentially where I was, right? I was at this place where I'm like, I would use the PvP hit calculator and do all of these things and test it out and see what works. It ultimately didn't work in my favor because I would have had to go with Lunar and then ultimately Tauros, right? This is what I would have had to go with, and then my next 2 setup would have been Pen here. I didn't like that route, and I'm not one to just abruptly change my build and just throw everything out the window, all of the kind of planning that I've done in the past, to just say, hey, just in order to fight less than 1% of the player base, I'm going to change my entire setup. So I didn't do that, right? I kept the Tet, and what I did was I bought a Bassi, Pen Bassi, and I kept my Leighton, and this is how I had it. And I would use the house buff, which gives 20 accuracy. So I was around 889 or something to that effect, right? And then you get an additional 4 accuracy if you make your Nuver C15, right? So these are the things I did to kind of, combat the fact that we suffer from accuracy and we deal with evasion classes, especially strikers and mystics, that have an advantage against us because they take a certain amount of they take less damage when it comes to magic. They have evasion passives, all of these types of things. But I know I'm getting to this, right? But with the crystal presets, that completely changed things, right? And I'll show you why they changed things. Let me go to the one that I'm currently using. Let me go into this. So, the typical special evasion, can't really change that. Elcars, Jin Vipers, my crit crystal, corrupted, and then I just went all precision, the unlimited blue crystals, right? And so I got, what is this, 6? I got 48 additional accuracy compared to what I had before, right? 6 8 of 48, and so that's what I got. So now what I have here is 112 accuracy. So I was able to get 48 additional accuracy, right, for less than $1 million in silver, right? And so what I have now, if you take a look at my stats, I'm at 935 accuracy. This is for PvP, and I was still able to maintain my damage, right? I've tested this build. It works wonders against any class. I was fighting I was able to kill mystics in the past. Anyway, I don't want to point it out as if I wasn't able to kill them, but I have high AP. Imagine other sorks that don't have high AP, or other sorks who are not going the high damage route. They're going more of the evasion route. That's not my thing, right? And so I'm able to get 935 accuracy with 320 with 323 AP, right? We're Sork, so we use a lot of our main hand. So, my next gain, which I'm working on right now, is to get to pen. I'm almost there to buy it. All right, so this is what I went with. Now, in terms of, let me just go to my Wusa. In terms of my PvP setup, I tagged the Wusa. Amazing, very easy grind. I would literally recommend this for anyone, right? So this is my PvE setup. I pretty much went with, this is not in my crystal, right? I'm not using this, so it's off by a few. Jins, again, corrupted, dark fangs, rebellious, and then pretty much power, all AP, right? And then Elcars. That's essentially what I went with. I have enough DP to be able to mitigate damage, and I'm not really grinding. I'll test Ash Forest, but I've tested every other place. It's a Crier, no issues. Maybe because I have infinite magic pot and health pot, but I've tested it. No real issues in terms of damage. I play a Wusa. That's what I'm currently playing. So that's what I would go with. Now, what I want to, and this is just across the board. I mean, this video might be a little bit longer. I'll save it for another video. Because they're AP caps in particular areas, right? There's this player called Big and Shiny. I guess I don't know if he's the creator of this site, but he gives all the data comes from him, and he has breakdowns on Google Sheet where it shows you like what your target, what the soft cap AP is, and if you get past that soft cap AP, then the every additional or marginal AP that you get is like 5% effective, versus if you were to then go with human damage for a place like Bloody Monastery, that additional 10 or 2 or what have you monster damage will be much more effective than if you were to add more AP, because once you've hit that AP cap, you get a diminished return in the sense of 5% less. It's worth 5% instead of 100% more, right? So, but that's another video, or maybe you can go to his channel. I don't know if he has a YouTube channel, but maybe you can easily find him on Garmoth. They give you his link and everything. I'll probably put his link in the description. All right, so that's that for the PV, the PvP. Now let's go to, so I can explain a little bit why I decided to go with this setup. All right, so let's go to PvP hit calculator. All right, let's choose this. And let's choose this Mystic, right? This is a build that Mystics, well, Strikers, and you can also put Mystics. This is something they currently run on console. Right, so let me just add these buffs. Let me add, I'll add the same buffs here. right? Have an evasion debuff, turn back slash, and add-ons on that. So it's like 13%. I think on skill accuracy, let's just say 5% for Sork, right? Their evasion self debuff, let's give them, they can do, let's give them 15%. I don't know if they have an accuracy debuff, but we'll keep it at this, right? With this damage, I'm able to hit these guys close to 60%, right? And still maintain the damage. Now, if I were to, change this to, right, it goes up to 64. So it's like a roughly a difference of like 5%, right? But you miss a bracket. Most players don't have the funds um, to get to pen. They can get to tet. You're at 63. So you what is it? 4% higher hit rate, right? Versus Bassy, pen. I mean, they can dodge it a little bit more, but I think this is perfectly fine with the damage that you're outputting. And so this is what I think about whenever I'm fighting a player. I think this is the gear they have, right? Because this is the gear I have, right? And these are the types of players you do run into in console. You just have to be have that wrong. Have most of them have tongue grad. Uh, right? Um, and you have to be able to hit these players. If you change your crystal preset, let me just change it to the human damage setup that I have. Look what happens. I don't think this is I have a 50% chance. You have a 50-50, right? I don't, you know, I don't think that's something that I would want to do. Right? So that's why this is what a lot of players are running. Human damage, typical Elcar corrupted Vipers, um, uh, right? The red battlefield Vipers because they give you 10 um, human damage as opposed to 7 if you're running the Harpias. Yeah. So yeah, this is what most players are running. I forgot to put in the special evasion. It'll be even less because yeah, you put in the special evasion, it would be less. So yeah, this is essentially why I just went all accuracy. I would recommend players going all accuracy before any of the changes to like the rework and the meta going really high damage. I ran 3 Hooms, right? 4 Hooms. So you don't miss out, to me at least, you don't miss out on being able to like kill players if you go just accuracy. Some players might not necessarily have the damage to injure or just, to do damage to DR players. But I've never had issues killing a DR player, even below 300 AP. I've always had issues killing evasion players. And if I can spend less than 10 million silver to get 48 additional accuracy, where if I wanted to do that, right? Let's just let's just be let's be optimistic, right? Let's say for every 10 accuracy, you're paying 120 bill, right? right? You're paying 120 though. Think about that. You're in trillions there, right? So uh, I think accuracy setup for Sorks, for me at least, it works. And I don't have to worry so much about um, players just missing uh, my damage just missing. So yeah, that's essentially it. Hopefully this was helpful. If it wasn't, and I'm long winded as usual, my apologies. Also, I was hacked. I have my channel back, and I could have had it back a lot earlier, but my Twitter was on protected mode, so I was sending out, I was tweeting at YouTube, not knowing that, because I'm rarely on Twitter anyway, not knowing that they can't see it because only protected mode means anyone, in order for them to see it, they have to follow me, and you know YouTube wasn't following me. Anyway, hopefully this was helpful, and I'm out.